Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about ancient Egyptian dynasties and pharaohs. So let's get started. So, what is a dynasty? A dynasty is a family that rules for generations. And for the ancient Egyptian civilizations, there were at least 30 dynasties that ruled for hundreds of years. And the power was normally passed down from father to son. The pharaoh was a very important person in these Egyptian civilizations. They were not only considered kings, but they were also considered living gods. They controlled the land, they controlled religion, and they even controlled the military. They were responsible for law and order as well as prosperity. They controlled pretty much everything um, within the civilizations. So there in ancient Egyptian history, we normally talk about three kingdoms, or three different time periods that were important. One of them is the Old Kingdom, and this was a time period where pyramid building was very prominent, very important. Then came the Middle Kingdom, which was a time period of trade and stability. And then there's the New Kingdom, which was a time period where military power was very important and empire building was massive. People were more focused on those things. So, Menes was a very important pharaoh back then, and what he did was he united the Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt, and he founded Egypt's first ever dynasty. He built the capital called Memphis, and which was a very important part of the ancient Egyptian civilization. So let's talk about some of the famous pharaohs back then. We have Hatshepsut, which was a famous female pharaoh that focused more on trade rather than war. We have another famous pharaoh known as Ramses II. He was a great builder. He led massive military campaigns. We also have a very famous pharaoh known as Tutankhamun, and even though he died young, he's very famous from for his tomb that was found. So, what are the symbols that are very important for royal power? Normally, pharaohs have something called a crook and flail, just like you see here, and this symbolized their leadership, their how powerful they were. The crowns were also important, especially a double crown. So, if a pharaoh was wearing a white crown, just this part, then that means they ruled Upper Egypt in the south. If they just had the red part, then they ruled Lower Egypt in the north. But if they had the double crown, both of these, such as Menes, they ruled both Upper and Lower Egypt. Now, pyramids and temples were also very important to show how powerful and how wealthy these pharaohs were. In the next video, we're going to talk about Nubia and the kingdoms of Kush. What was Nubia's relationship with Egypt down here? And how did the kingdom of Kush rise to power? We're going to discover Africa's greatest civilization along the Nile. That's it. Thank you.